Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Riv before a holiday weekend.
And remember, your trash pickup next week is 1 day later. 1 day later.
Hello, guys. So I guess the big news is it's causing quite the stir is this issue about the superintendent of schools. Some people are getting extremely.
How did that song go? So long, farewell, la vitas, and goodbye.
Yeah, I tell you,
The
I
hills
don't.
are alive with the sound of firing.
I don't do Facebook, but a few people sent me some clips from
Oh
Facebook.
yeah, I saw one from Mike Herron.
Yeah,
All offended.
yeah.
All offended that we're not going to get rid of her.
Well, again, I think this is something that, again, it shows something about. It gets to the root of the problem, and I think that Paul Coogan said it best when he was running for re-election. You got to be part of the team. You people don't understand. You got to be part of the team, and if you're not, you don't get anything. Well, there were a lot of people that were not happy with her. They felt she shouldn't have been there in the first place, and everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Hi, Jimmy.
But hey, Jimmy. But personally, I didn't know. I don't know her from a post hole. But I was frankly not happy with her with the way she behaved at school committee
No,
meetings.
I wasn't either.
And they basically being dismissive of people who she actually works for, like the school committee, and telling them she's not going to answer questions and being flippant and stuff, and her performance. But then we see what the team does. The team gets together. They get into a huddle, and they go, "Let's go, team!" And this is what they do. I heard my favorite whiner, Tommy Corey, was on. We suck even more at radio. Her list of accomplishments. Oh, she played sports for Durfee. She went to Durfee. She instituted programs. She also hired a person that called everybody that voted for Trump a Nazi. Yep. So, I mean, I don't care. Look, frankly, I don't care. I went to Durfee.
Oh, but according to Mike Herron, he's a diehard Hillside-er. Diehard Hillside-er.
That doesn't make any difference.
Exactly.
It doesn't. I don't care if you're a diehard hilltopper. That doesn't qualify you to be superintendent of schools.
Right, and then, this is the thing they're talking about. They're talking about, well, she was extraordinary when she went to Durfee. She was extraordinary when she went to college. She was extraordinary as superintendent. The schools are doing much better since she's been the superintendent. No, they're not. One school did. One. The Watson. All the others failing.
Yeah.
Failing.
So one school. Look, No, you're right. They grasp at straws. But let me give you the example of how they operate. She was extraordinary at everything she may have been. But I don't care. If you are good at sports and you did well in school, that doesn't mean you're going to be great at being an attorney or a doctor or anything, or a plumber or a carpenter.
That's right.
Okay? Being a die-hard hilltopper is, this is the team spirit again. But I'm going to give you an example of how they shift, like that all great Democrats do. Many, many, many years ago, I was selected to be on a committee to select a new superintendent of schools. In that selection process, I lasted 2 meetings and I quit. And there were people, the team was on the committee. The committee had a lot of team members. And after 2 meetings, I knew who was going to be the superintendent of schools. And that superintendent of schools was the only candidate without a PhD, who was not a great athlete, who didn't graduate anywhere near the top of his class. As a matter of fact, when he became superintendent of schools, he went to the National Honor Society dinner and said, "Oh, I'm so proud of these kids because I couldn't make the Honor Society when I was a kid, when I was at Durfee." But they selected him because he was a hilltopper. He actually wasn't that bad, but the fact is, this is what they do. Fall River, Fall River, Fall River. Well, why don't we have a hilltopper as the CFO?
Right?
Why don't we have a hilltopper as the head of the law department? I don't know. It's because the school department is the bastion of patronage. They took an action. They're going to have to justify their actions. There are a lot of people that are going to now rally, but I don't want to hear that horse shit because you were a hilltopper. You're a hilltopper. He was a hilltopper. She's a hilltopper. She was extraordinary. She was this. She was that. I don't care. I don't care. If you're part of the team, they talk about you. If you're not part of the team, they don't give a shit. I know somebody who set a record at Durfee that will never be broken. Ever. As long as there is time, it'll never be broken. He was the only Durfee athlete ever to break 14 minutes on the old cross-country course. Only 3 people in history ever broke 14 minutes on the old cross-country course. One guy was named Coogan, ironically, not Paul Coogan, a Coogan from Seekonk High who later ran in the Olympics, and another kid, and this individual. Now, this individual set a record that'll never be broken. He won every single meet he ran in as a senior in this area. He broke the record at every school he ran at. Case, everywhere they had a meet, he broke a cross-country record. Plus, he led it in other sports. And he was in the National Honor Society. And you know, to this day, he never went into the Durfee Hall of Fame. You know why? Because his fucking name isn't spelled right. That's why. So don't give me that shit. You want to have a conversation? Come talk to me, Mike. I'll talk to you. You and I can disagree all the time about this is politics. At one debate, you walked up to me and you were on the other side and said, "Chip, I just want to let you know this is just, we're on different sides, but this is politics." Well, this is politics too. What the school committee is going to do what it's going to do. Let's see if they can justify it. There are people who are not happy. But don't start waving the hilltop of flag and shit. That does not qualify you for anything. She's not playing sports anymore. She's the superintendent of the Fall River school system, and she had the temerity, the audacity, not to answer direct questions about finances or anything else that are important.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I don't want to hear that shit.
And
okay?
remember, and one thing, Mike Herron did admit that this is political. This is a political, quote him, political assassination.
Yeah, but it's a political.
Fight for your school. Fight for your superintendent. And then you've got Ann O'Neill Souza posting pictures. Support our superintendent. You're the fucking chief of staff for the mayor. That's not your job.
She's got a $100,000 a year job for being a secretary.
That's right.
And listen, yeah. You know, isn't it ironic? Like most Democrats do, they're upset about politics. But nobody complained when she got the job politically.
That's right.
And there were many people. There were many people from the get-go who said there were much more qualified candidates.
Paul Coogan selected her.
Yeah, of course.
And his cronies.
But everybody's hair's on fire. Listen,
right?
I don't care. Get a superintendent who turns the system around. We've had them, like I said, don't give me that hilltop of crap. Because like I said, there was a superintendent who all of those accolades that they talked about, it's great in sports, great in academics, wasn't good in anything. But his name was spelled correctly, and he was part of the team.
What a team he was part of.
The only person that was being interviewed for that job that didn't have a PhD. And when I left that committee, I got into a big fight with Sprague from BCC because he said, "Oh, what are you quitting for?" I said, "Because this process is a kangaroo court. I already know who's going to be the superintendent, and we haven't done virtually any research. I can tell already, and I can tell you who's going to." And his comment to me was, "Well, you know, if you don't go through the entire process, well, you know, then they're going to say that, well, you know, you really didn't get all the information." I said, "I got all the information I need. You want me to stay till the end of the process and get outvoted by all of you people, and then your excuse will be, he just didn't like it. He had somebody else that he felt was better qualified, and he was outvoted by us after reviewing all of things." I'm going to tell you who you're going to pick before you review anybody's credentials. And I did. And I was right. So don't give me this. The whole thing. Listen, the school department, the school systems in Massachusetts should be completely revamped. They're failing at everything. And education reform, it was the biggest boondoggle in the history of education. There's no performance. Yeah. Well, they complain about everything that'll not keep them in power. Like, look, Paul said it best. I can never say, I got to give credit for Paul actually saying something that was accurate and true, what he said. You got to hire somebody from the team. If you're not on a team, you don't get anything.
You don't get anything. That's right.
Well, you know, this isn't a team.
And if you remember correctly, I'm the only Democrat here. That's what he said. I'm the only Democrat here.
Yeah,
which
that's
was
right.
wrong, by the way.
In other words, hire a Democrat, let them rob everything, let the state be replete with fraud, and then we just keep them in power. They'll do anything to stay power. They don't want IDs. It's going to be women. You imagine how insulting they are. They're implying that women are so helpless that they couldn't get an ID. That blacks can't get an ID. Well, I know a lot of women who fly. so they got an ID. I know a lot of black people who I've seen on airplanes and I've seen buy cigarettes. They all got IDs.
Yes. And you know what? They seem to be doing quite well. And remember something. Rhode Island, you are required, right over the border, you are required to have an ID to vote. And if you can't get an ID from the registry, which is almost unheard of, you can go to the Board of Canvassers and they will give you a photo ID voter registration card that you can use to vote. For gratis.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
it's not
don't
difficult.
tell me it's not possible. It's not possible
of course,
in Nora Healey's Massachusetts.
You're not going to show me a voter that doesn't have some form, and as you said, in everywhere I know of, every city, town, hamlet, whatever you want to call, if you go, you can get an ID. You can go down to your government center, your town hall. They'll and the thing is, they lie about everything. They make this, you're gonna be made to prove your citizenship at the polls. No, you're not. You have to prove your citizenship to get an ID. There's going to be a process. You need a confirmation. The Democrats can't win elections without cheating. They need those hundreds of thousands of illegals voting. And in states like this, nobody asked if we wanted to be registered to vote.
That's right.
I mean, I've always been registered to vote. But if you do any business, whether you like to be registered or not, you're right. That's why we say we got 50,000 people, 55,000 people. Nobody shows up. Half of them got registered and never voted in their life.
Yes, James, I got one and I deleted it without even reading it.
Yeah. I gotta ask him this question, James. Can he find Fall River in any other time except elections?
Exactly.
Oh, when he's coming down to visit the team, Team Paul. While we're on that subject, CJ is trying to get a major political candidate on our show.
I'm trying for 3 of them.
Yeah, but one especially, candidate for governor, who's running against the Cabbage Patch Kid, Laura. Yeah. Although his answer will be that's a state issue. He's a congressman. Well, if he says that, then ask him. Say, well, with all due respect, Congressman, doesn't our Constitution that you swore an oath to?
And remember, Congressman, the Massachusetts Constitution
predates it. Exactly. That's right. Predates the Constitution of the United States. But you can ask them, well, don't you think that when 72% of a constituency says they want an audit, and the Constitution of our Commonwealth says that they're answerable to us, that they should have an audit? I want to see what his answer to that will be. You'll probably get thrown out of the venue, but they might muzzle you or something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You're in trouble, James, when they start chanting fascist, Nazi, then you're in trouble. So here we go.
Hey, we've been called worse.
But this thing really set this again. It's good because it shows how political the school department has always been. That's always been a place where people get jobs that are not qualified.
The school department and the housing authority.
Those
are the places you go when you can't succeed in the real world.
Yeah. And listen, I don't know her, but I'm not satisfied with her. If I had a child in the school department, I would have been raising hell a long time ago about her answers. It's my tax money that she's wasting. It's everybody's tax money because of net school spending, because we have to kick in twice. We have to pay the state, who then gives them money, and then we have to pay because
more out of the city.
It's in our budget.
That's right.
So, I mean, I'm not happy when I see a superintendent telling people basically hey, F off. I don't want to hear your shit. I'm in charge here. You don't need numbers. That's absurd.
It
You don't
is.
need numbers. I want you to vote. You are a fiduciary. You are voting to expend taxpayer money. But I'm not going to show you the rationale behind this amount of money. I'm not going to show you the numbers. That is illegal. I've shown you the case law, but they don't care. They'll do it as long as they can. Just like that issue with the health care that read on the last show when I got a thing and they reviewed it. They said the case is tremendously strong and everything else. If you want to file it on a federal level, our firm will do it for $500,000. Huh, that's the reason. It's not that we can't win a case. It's like, who the hell can afford $500,000? Like I said,
Right.
they all better hope that I never hit the Powerball because I'll pay it. Yeah, well, Mike Roderick said he doesn't want the audit, but he also said because he can't have one branch of government audited. You'll have to show me where it says that. And the auditor does have a job. It's to audit. So, but it's not the other branch of government.
That's right.
Somebody should remind Mike that the people of the state of Massachusetts, 72% of the people who voted said they wanted an audit.
Well, here's the
Our
kicker.
Constitution of our state clearly states that
But here's the kicker.
Us.
Here's the kicker. Mike Rogers says that they are the legislative branch of government. And DeZoglio is the administrative branch of government. And that's why they can't audit them. And then he just went further to justify saying, we already audit our books every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Fall River audit.
Yeah, like when I caught him stealing our money.
Right.
And when we first caught him, they said, "Oh no, you're wrong. By statute, we audit the healthcare every year," and they did. And in every year, they were wrong. They lied. They missed it. They said, "Oh, we missed it. Oh, it was a mistake." Every year, they made auditing mistakes. When you got an independent auditor, and we got Ernst & Young down here, they went, holy, whoa, moly, and it's unbelievable. But just want to go quickly to one of my favorite documents in the world.
No, not that one again.
Yeah. My favorite document in the world. One of my favorite documents in the world. I gotta get one that shows it really clearly. Here we go. Yeah. Just so we remind Mike, who's the head of Ways and Means, what it says, and I'm reading this verbatim. All power residing originally in the people, that's us, by the way, the taxpayers and the people, and being derived from them, they get their power from us, just in case they forgot. They don't have it. They think once they're elected, and Sean Kadim should read this too, because he swore an oath to it. The several magistrates and officers of government vested with authority. That says, and anybody who works within that authority, those magistrates come under this Constitution. So, whether legislative, Mike Roderick, executive, or judicial, there's no administrative branch, by the way. Okay. I don't know why he said that.
He meant executive.
Yeah, it's executive. Are there substitutes? Are there substitutes and agents, not their bosses, as Sean Kadim says? Let me do my job. No, your job is to be my substitute and my agent. And that are all times accountable to them. And just in case we're confused about who we're talking about, even that says originally in the people, if you jump backwards to Article 4, it said the people of this Commonwealth have the sole and exclusive right of governing themselves. Period. That's it. We are the government. 72% of us voted to have an audit. Just like they did with their pay raises, just like they did with electing judges, just like they did with the sales tax. They gave us the big, giant middle finger and said, we're in power. You're too dumb to vote us out. So we're going to keep sticking it in your shorts until you throw us out of here. That's it. No, yeah, good for her. She won't last long though. Somebody will. There might be an assassination. Yeah. Well, the Supreme Court of Massachusetts is, it's partisan. They were the ones who shot the electing judges.
That's right.
Against
God forbid they have to justify their position.
Yeah. I don't believe, look, this state, whenever you get a state that's totally, locked solidly one party, you have all kinds of abuses. And Massachusetts is arguably one of the worst in the United States.
Look at all the abuses they're finding right now. Food stamps, welfare, EADAC. They're making everything work. The people also voted, James, for term limits, and the court shot that down.
Oh, don't, James, don't remind me about the death penalty. I had a big argument with the governor.
Yeah.
The governor who was the governor there, with Mike Dukakis. And I told him I would not support him. Yeah, because of his actions. And because he allowed his personal opinion to override the will of the people. The people voted for it, but they stonewalled it, and then they flipped votes, and they threatened people, and they bought off people. And they ended up flipping the vote, and we never got the death penalty.
That's right. That's right. And yes, George, I was watching that school committee while I was on the air. It was the most difficult thing in the world to do, but I was watching it. And congratulations to Kevin and Colin for getting that out there to get rid of this superintendent. There's a clause in her contract which gives them the right to terminate her without cause. They're giving her the 15 days. If I were her, I would resign now.
A good friend of mine, a friend of our show, he's probably viewing now, actually sent me a text about that and said, why would anybody sign a contract that has a stipulation in it they can terminate you without cause? Most contracts allow, and most people can be terminated for cause.
Right.
I don't know. I wish I could answer that question. Because it's probably because she felt so secure with Paul Coogan in charge that nothing had ever happened to her, no matter what she did.
I also think, and I think you're going to be seeing more of that, Colin and Kevin and this new school committee are going to be requiring accountability and the ability to get rid of people who don't do their job. Now, rumor has it that after Tracy Curley goes fudge bye-bye, bingo, Ken Pacheco will be next on the chopping block. And if I were Ken, I'd be putting my papers in now for retirement. He's old enough. He's got the time. What's he trying for? I don't know.
But
he says he doesn't need this headache. It's a hostile work environment, which he doesn't know what the definition of a hostile work environment is.
He should ask Malone.
Yeah.
He should
Oh
ask
no,
them
wait a
all.
minute. He can't. He can't. You know what? He can't. He can't. You know who should ask about that? Go to Bruce Assad. Ask him if this is a hostile work environment. I'm sure Bruce Assad will say, I don't know.
But the contract that, without cause, the only real situations I have ever seen that people are able to be terminated without cause or without any uh, kind of due process is civil service employees when they're hired in their probationary period can be terminated without cause. The union cannot represent them, and they are not entitled to sections 41 through 45 of the civil service regulations, which has a very strict way
Parameter.
of holding hearings. And it's a long process. You guys want to read it, go read it. It's sections 41 through 45, the civil service law. And they're not entitled to that as probationary firefighters and police officers and stuff like that. They can just be terminated because without going through the process because they haven't been on a job long. Once they become permanent, they have it. But I don't know how anybody would say basically. But this again, it's a political hire.
Right.
Well, political hires are hired by people who they politically fit in with. So when they agree to things like that, they figure this will never come back and bite me in a butt, but it did.
Right.
So,
well, because before she didn't think she had to worry because Paul had all the votes except for 2. Now Paul only has 1 vote, and that's Tom Corey's. Another. Go toss that salad, baby, Tom. Go toss that salad.
who also has got numerous people into the school system and relatives.
Right.
So, they do not like scrutiny. They don't want this. This is, and like I said, what are they doing? They do what the Democrats do, like with the voter ID. Like you said, they're going to make some ridiculous argument that it's impossible for certain people. It's going to suppress voter turnout. Yeah, it's going to suppress illegal voter turnout.
That's right.
And that's who they want to vote.
George, I looked into that because I had a problem. I thought that he was condescending. I thought Sean Kadim was being a real prick to Michael Canuel. And I've spoken to several city councilors about it because I don't think it was fair. Michael Canuel and Sean Kadim have had conversations since that time. They harbor no ill will toward each other. Sean Kadim got frustrated because he wasn't being heard or he wasn't conveying the information to Michael Canuel where it was being heard properly. So he was getting frustrated. So you're right. He did an infomercial.
I think there's a simpler way to put that.
That's right.
He didn't get his way. Sean didn't get his way, and he pulled the sissy fit.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay, well that's what happened.
Yeah.
But Sean gets that way very often. Remember, he's passionate. So you get when you get passionate,
you become an asshole.
Look, there's a right way, and there's a wrong way to argue the point, especially in that particular venue, your counselors. There should be some decorum. There should be some respect for the other person's opinion. If he doesn't get it, and it's possibly on you the way you're articulating it, but regardless of that, he is a duly elected city council.
The bottom line is, and this is what I said to the city council.
Respect.
This is what I said to the city councilors. The bottom line is appearances are realities in politics. And George is right. Sean looked like a douchebag. Bottom line, he looked like a douchebag.
No, he did. He looked like a little child, pulling a tantrum. That's what he did. Because he wasn't getting his way, and then he had to tell everybody how don't you interfere. But he wasn't only condescending to Canuel. He was condescending to the entire voting. The voters of the city of Fall River, like,
he already told the city of Fall
people, and I'm paraphrasing now.
He already
You
told
people
Fall River,
don't want
fuck
to
you.
let me do my job.
Yeah.
What do you want to have, a town meeting every time?
That's right. I want a town meeting.
That sounds like a good idea.
From the government.
Let's
Because
go.
you can't be trusted.
Let's go. You're the one you're the one that wanted unfettered access. There have to be guardrails for you guys because you're out of control. So as soon as you lift the $20 million per annum catch, you spent $30 million. You already went. You already went 50% over the cap, the old cap. So
that's right.
Was there something there? Yeah, that's, just have a town meeting, which is absurd. The regular spending and stuff like that, we're talking about massive, and that's the thing that upsets me more than anything else, guys, is that that cavalier attitude they have about, oh, what the hell are you talking about? Sean goes, what are you talking? You're talking about a measly $5 million and $20 million a year. That's not a measly sum in a city where the average median income is $32,000. I'm sorry. Do the math. How many people's gross income are you talking about? You think to you shows why you should not be in charge. You don't think spending this kind of money is a big deal.
Well, from what I understand, coming out of the government center, the administration is going to be looking at a significant increase in the FY27 budget. I asked, are we talking about $750 million? We're already at $500 million.
Yeah, well, I would say we're going to be very close, if not
I think so too.
And the big question.
And they don't give a shit.
And where are we going to get the money?
From us.
I'm going to be like Mondami. Tax the rich. Tax the rich. Tax Viola.
Well, you know what gets me about Mondami? Because I saw an ad that he took out during the election season about transgendered people and gay and lesbian people. He's a Muslim. They believe they should be shot, drawn, quartered.
Well,
thrown off of the roof.
That's right. Thrown off a roof. They're good for that.
Thrown off of a roof. Remember? Thrown off of a roof. But he wants to give them their rights in New York. New York is going to be ever increasing. Go tell that bullshit to someone else because I'm not buying your line.
Yeah, and because you're right, George. The city is broke, and it's going to be broken because they never prepared. I told them they were going to be short at some point in time if they didn't keep all the money in surplus that we have run under budget with for years in healthcare, and we're short, and we're going to be shorter because this year we are going to get a hit. We are going to get a major hit in cost because we still had to keep the GLPs for a year. And the GLP-1s drove up the cost of healthcare by over 300%. So that's going to come in this year's experience. So the city's going to get hit with we're going to get hit with something substantial, even though the rest of our experience has been really great.
Hey, I got a question for you. Why do GLP-1s have to stay in the formulary
for another
year? They
don't.
Right.
But what a lot of people did, because you're going to have people throwing themselves off the roof that are on them. A lot of the communities, including Fall River, rather than get them off while they still had them in a contract and just eliminate them, a lot of private sector places just threw them.
They got rid of them.
Took them out. Took them out. I have a friend of mine that works for a major company, and they just walked in and said, "Hey, starting tomorrow, they're not covered. Get over it." But what happened with a lot of cities and towns was that they said, what they're going to do is get these programs. You see them advertised on TV that if you go on this program and you get lifestyle coaching and to change your, to begin to exercise, change your diet, they will allow you to get the GLMP for one more year as a transitional period where maybe at that point in time you can live without them. But unfortunately, I don't have a lot of confidence in self-discipline. I've seen too many people who don't have the self-discipline to do anything. And that's what's going to happen. Yeah, no, you're right, Gene. They've been tapping it for decades. I mean, listen, I don't know what this figure is because we used to get it monthly, but at one time when this thing hit, when Kathy Ann was there, I'll never forget that meeting when Kathy Ann said, she was asked, because I had told a few city councilors that we had $9 million in the employee trust fund. And we had given some of that back to the employees to help even lower the cost at more. Because what we did was we kept our money there, but they have to keep our money there statutorily because that's what it says in 32B. Because we have an employee trust fund. That's the one they robbed from. But they kept spending their money. So Kathy Ann was asked at a budget meeting, how much does the city have in their trust fund? Now, remember, they should have 3 times as much because it's 75-25. We ran under budget for so many years that we had accumulated $9 million in excess, even with giving some of that money back. Because the law stipulates for us that we can either give it back, reduce the premium, give some of it back, or keep it in the fund and let it accumulate to do that at some other point in time. It's the only way it can be used. She said they had $500,000 in their account. So do the math. What's 3 times 9?
27.
$27 million. If they would have done exactly what we have done for the last forever, they would have had $27 million in the bank and they had nothing. Because you're exactly right, Gene. Every year, and I kept bitching at them about it, and I put it in that letter to Coogan. I said, if you people do not stop skimming, you got to keep some of that money. We are going to have a couple of years where we're going to run over budget, and you people are not going to have to pay your share. Remember, the employees in this city, because they have taken care of their money right, do not have that problem. The city does, because they always spend it. It was budgeted for health care, and they don't leave it in a health care account. They don't leave any part of it. They rape it every year, and now we're paying the price. And it's not because they didn't know it was coming. That's the thing. The irony is they can't bullshit anybody. This year at budget time, when they complain about the health care, let's hope that Michael Canuel or any other counselor, Michelle Dion, somebody says, you brought this on yourself, didn't you? And you know what their answer is going to be? Yes. But you know what the problem is? They're all going to admit it, but who's going to pay? The taxpayer. We're going to pay. We're going to get our ass kicked this year. We're going to get our ass kicked.
I told Michelle Dion in a conversation we had this week. Yeah, that's right. The healthcare account is their safety net.
Well, I think it's a slush fund.
I said the city council needs to grow a set of balls like the school committee. They took the bull by the horns, looked at their options, and exercised it. The city council doesn't. The budget's too big. They all admit the budget's too big. But all of them are just about unwilling to cut it. They can't get their ass together. And that's their problem. That's their major problem. They can't get their act together.
And you know what the problem with the city council is, CJ? They know what's going to happen to them. That school committee is doing it, but you know what's going to happen with the council? If they took that position, which I agree with you, that's what they should do. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to look at my crystal ball like, Karnak the Magnificent. Let me see. Let me put the dust from the ducks work up into my head here and see what there it goes. What's going to happen is they're going to say, now, if the city, let's say for a hypothetical here, let's say that the council says, we want you to report every quarter how much money you've got in that fund and how much you're going to keep in there at the end of the year. How much is left at the end of every year? Well, this year there'll be nothing virtually because of the GLP-1s. But we want that report. You know what's going to happen next? At the next meeting, they get a letter from Rumsey saying, you can't tell the mayor what to do. That's his executive order.
Exactly.
And blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You know, shut your mouth. And then when it gets down to the council, they won't do what they should do that you said
right.
for years. And I said to you, tell them, good. We're not going to give you the $2 million you're short.
That's
you
right.
find it. We're cutting your budget.
Personally, I think when they get the budget this year, they should stop cutting things. I'll give you the first cut I make. Okay? Ann O'Neill Sousa's salary. Cut it altogether. Get rid of the position. Eliminate the position. They can do that. They can do that. Eliminate the position.
Yeah, we all
eliminate the
position
of
from.
City operations manager. Eliminate the position. We never had one before. They created it to streamline government, and it just blew it up. And now the guy won't do anything because he doesn't have a contract. But nobody can say that because they didn't hear it directly from his mouth.
Well,
why do you think he's sitting around with his thumb up his ass?
Well, nobody remembers even short-term history. You remember when Bridget Allman, one of the few things that Bridget Allman and I ever agreed upon was she went in front of council and said, we've got to begin to keep our money in healthcare and invest it and grow it.
Right.
And then what happened? They got rid of her, and now we got the political science major, and nobody's saying anything on how we're going to fix the problem. They're just going to bring the problem to the council and say, we're this much short, and we got to reinstitute purple bags. We got to raise taxes. We got to do this. We got to do that. And there's never going to be a solution because they don't need to make a solution. Their solution is always to screw the taxpayer. It's that simple. But this, Bridget Allman knew it. That's one of the few things we agreed on.
That's the only thing we agreed on.
Yeah. But no, she was, I got to admit, she said it, I think, once at a council meeting. She even said that's one of the few things I agree with them on. And it's true. But she understood the problems they were going to have down the road. And what happened to it? Somebody made a suggestion that we actually have to pay our own bills and figure out a way to do it without killing the taxpayer. And what did they do? They sent it back to Warwick.
Yep.
See you later. And they got the another team member, although she wasn't a hilltopper. I don't know. Good thing she wasn't a hilltopper. They would have given her like $300,000 for that job.
I know.
Because she was a hilltopper.
But again, the city council, just about all of them, approved her contract. And you know what I would have said? The hell with you. You don't have any experience. We're not going to hire you. But Sean and Cliff Ponte said, oh, no, give her a job. Give her a job. Yay, give her a job.
Yeah, that's
how she got the job.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's very disappointing to see what's happening. And like I said, it's the attitude they have. It's like, look, that, they can say that, they talked with Mike Canuel, but the way it was handled, there should be some decorum. There's a time and a place for everything. You were there when I had a little tete-a-tete with Seth Akins, and I told him, you want to go outside and talk about this in a hallway, we can talk about it. But then he didn't want to, and I said, okay. But when I went in front of the council, I was very, I just laid it out and said, he has no right to tell you not to listen to the voters because this is what the Constitution says. And when I got done, I went back and said, you have any more questions? He said, no. So I could have done it diplomatically. There's always two ways to do things. But in a council, a council member disagrees with another council member, make your argument and let the council vote on whose argument's better without, the attitude like, shut up, I'm the boss here. Oh, how dare you usurp my authority? Let me tell you something, Sean. According to the Constitution, you have no authority. Your authority is to be our substitute and agent and be answerable to us. So that's the way it goes.
And that's the thing. If you looked at the last city council meeting, they had all of those transfers for capital improvement in the fire department and in the police department. Why? Because the budget went up to over $500 million, but nobody put anything in for capital improvement. So they had to transfer the money from somewhere. Yeah. Now this year, they're going to put capital improvement projects in the budget. That's how I know it's going to go to $750,000.
Yeah, and it showed how much fat there was in the budget that they had the money to transfer.
Exactly.
That's why we need an audit of the city, because it showed that if they could scrape up all that money, there was plenty of fat in that budget. Yeah, well, they haven't ended the operations. They're drawing down. I saw a report on it that still got hundreds of agents up there, but they arrested 4,000, I think.
4,400 and something.
Yeah, 4,000, and they said that fundamentally most of the places except Minneapolis are cooperating, and they're allowing them to go into the jails and pick them up, so they don't need the manpower anymore. And it is what it is, So, and that's the other Democratic position that we shouldn't enforce the border because that's where they get their voters from. Yeah, you're right, Gene. They should have all voted on every transfer, but they won't go on. They don't care. They get away with it. Like I said, they're going to make a lot of noise, and then they're going to, like I said, we know what's going to happen with the health.
You have one city councilor that doesn't give a shit, so she goes to Florida. Okay? She still collects her paycheck, but she's in Florida. Okay? And she makes motions to change their meeting dates so she can go to Florida more often. You don't show up for a meeting, you don't get paid, my opinion. Hopefully they change the law. Or they make that an ordinance or something like that, because that's ridiculous already. But you'll never get a city councilor to say, if we don't make a meeting, we don't get paid. God forbid. God forbid.
Yeah, but this is what they do best. They just completely go, crazy about things and just lie and make it. But that's what's going to happen here. Like I said, if the council says when this, and healthcare will be another major issue in the budget. If they say, well, we want some guardrails and we want to check on what you're doing, Rumsey's going to come down and say, shut up. You don't have the right to ask him. You just get the budget, shut your mouth, and vote on it. And they're going to vote. They're not going to say, oh, you wouldn't give us the numbers. You wouldn't cooperate with us. You're going to tough shit. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you got to remember, these protests in these places, they've got a lot of Looney Tunes who have they got nothing better to do, and they're so bored with their life they can get them involved. But remember, most of these are paid protests by that guy that's over in China and Soros and stuff like that. This is a stage thing for the Democrats for the midterms. They did it with George Floyd. Just substitute, Renee.
Substitute the name. It's the same shit.
Substitute the name, same shit, riots, make them heroes. I saw that the nurses in Rhode Island were going to have a candlelight vigil for the nurse that was killed. It's too bad he got killed. I'm not sure if it was unnecessary to kill him. There were a lot of agents there. I don't think, but he might have been going for a gun. We don't know the particulars. But the fact is, let's not canonize him as a saint. He went down there with a 9mm pistol and extra clips. He kicked out the taillight. Spit on a law enforcement agent. He is not Florence Nightingale. I'm sorry. All right, let's be realistic. And that's what the Democrats do. They elevate these people into sainthood because they want to do it for political reasons, not because it's true. George Floyd was a felon. He had fentanyl in his system. He was a career criminal. He had COVID, fentanyl, and everything else. Shouldn't have got killed. I don't agree with killing people unless you have to. But let's not canonize these people. We're going to have a candlelight vigil because he was a nurse. Well, he was a nurse who kicked out the tail light of a vehicle, who spit on somebody, who had a 9mm handgun, and maybe, like I said, not what happened. They see a gun. Some, people.
And remember,
look what happened in Fall River. You got two police officers were shot, and we got loonies that are saying, "Well, did they really have to shoot back? Did they have to use deadly force? No, they just should wait till one of them got killed or both of them got killed."
That's right.
That's what they should do. Nitwit.
I'm Pretty, the nurse who got killed.
Yeah.
Okay. They put him out there as being, an amazing nurse, wonderful guy, loving caretaker, took care of sick veterans. He worked for the VA hospital, and he got fired. He got fired for mistreatment of patients.
There you go. But the Democrats, you'll never see that.
They never said that. They never said that.
No, they'll never say that.
No.
And that really pisses me off now because I didn't know that. You mistreated a veteran? Oh, boy.
We've been saying that for a long time, James. House of Commons, that's the way to go.
That's what we need. CJ and I, that's our place. We love it, man. I love to watch the House of Commons. Yeah. The only one that did better than that was the one with did you see the one in Mexico with the two women that were in there where they got into a hair pulling contest?
I know.
They were duking it out in the chamber. I was like, okay, this is what I call,
this is government. Remember, that's passion. That's right. That's passion.
Oh, they are. You're right. I mean, some of these people, can you imagine being some grandma that gets convinced by George Soros's professional agitators to go out and get yourself shot for the cause? What's the cause? To get them in power. It's got nothing to do with what they don't give a damn about. They don't give a damn about the people. They don't give two shits about the people. And they do things like that are so obscene that you just can't even fathom how bad it is. And like that picture I talked about that really upset me when they compared. They had the kid that the father left, and he just left the kid, and then they had that kid staring at somebody from the Holocaust, and it's not germane. It's not the same. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's not the same thing. And in case anybody wants to debate it, I can produce some pictures of the Holocaust. If anybody wants to see them, I will show you actual pictures of Buchenwald. And then you'll see. You tell me if it looks the same. I will show you pictures that will haunt you for the rest of your life when you look at
them. That's it. Adeline, you came in late.
Adeline, hello. Better late than never.
That's right.
You missed a good.
Well, everyone, have a very happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Spend some time with your loved one, significant other, or just your family, or your dog, or your cat, or whoever it is that gives you the love you need. And remember, Monday's a holiday, President's Day, so trash pickup will be a day late. Government offices will be closed. The banks will be closed. And the post office won't be working. I want to thank y'all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.